It's not just you. People are getting ruder. Let's talk about it. A few months ago, I was heading to Seattle for a business trip, and I was really looking forward to it because I absolutely love the city, the nature, the people, the vibes. So I get to Seattle and I hop into a cab. I say hi to the driver. They don't say hi back, which I'm kind of used to living in New York City. So we drive to downtown and we get in front of the hotel, but I notice that she doesn't help me with my bags. I still leave her a tip and I take the bags that I'm bringing into the hotel and I realize that their automatic doors are broken. So I find the side door and I'm trying to shimmy my way through when a gentleman pushes past me, says, "Get out of my way," swings the door open and slams it in my face. So even after that point, I didn't make much of it because that also happens in New York. People regularly slam doors in front of your face. So I check into my hotel room, I look at my watch and realize I gotta meet a colleague in like 30 minutes. So I'm hustling to get ready and I accidentally think I locked myself out of my room. Well, I go down to the concierge and I ask, "Hey, can I get a separate or spare room key because I think I may have locked myself out?" Without even looking at me, this woman who's a little bit older than me, she says, "That's pretty stupid of you." And I just stand still. I'm stunned. I don't know what to say. She makes a room key. She tosses it at me. I take it silently. I thank her. And then I step out of the hotel. And my first thought is, why is everyone being so rude? Experts say incivility is rising, and that's a really big problem. Basically, incivility or rudeness, it has a lot of implications and negative impacts on not just our society, but also in us. It literally affects our mind, our body, our nervous system. Rudeness has severe impacts on our mental health and our emotional health. For instance, when someone is rude to us, it actually puts us in flight or fight mode. So in that moment with the concierge at the hotel, I definitely was in this flight mode. I just wanted to get out of the situation. It triggers our amygdala. And so we are in a state of heightened fear and anxiety, and it adds a lot of stress. It also hurts our nervous system. We literally feel pain when someone is rude to us, and it hijacks our mind. Researchers actually ran an experiment to test how rudeness can affect us mentally and emotionally. So basically in this experiment, there were two groups. One group was subjected to rudeness. They had a lot of rudeness that they had to face and listen to and endure. The second group was the control group, and their interactions were really pleasant, nothing outstanding. After those sessions, both groups were given a brick, and researchers asked, what could you do with a brick? So the group that had the pleasant interactions, they had a lot of really cool creative ideas. They said they could, with this brick, make a house, make artwork, a lot of really productive ideas. However, the group that faced rudeness, they had a lot of destructive ideas. They said things like, with this brick, I can hit someone. With this brick, I can break someone's nose. With this brick, I can do a lot of damage. So this was a really good experiment to show that rudeness can really affect our problem-solving skills, our cognitive ability, and even our creative ability. If rudeness is so bad, why is it so common nowadays? You can go on social media and you can see countless videos of people yelling at healthcare workers, retail workers, service workers, hospitality workers, Americans sparring and fighting with Americans at the grocery store. There's so much anger and there's so much rudeness that's documented online. Why is it happening? Apparently, rudeness is contagious. Yeah, like the common cold. In fact, researchers believe that when you encounter rudeness, it's highly likely that you are going to be mean or rude or disrespectful to someone else shortly afterwards. we pass along rudeness. Social media and the internet makes a lot of things worse too. We're so disconnected from each other, and there's this heightened sense of anonymity. Basically, we can say and do whatever online, and we don't really have to face a lot of consequences. So it's really easy for people to be mean, rude, and disrespectful to each other online. And it's kind of like this vicious cycle, because even if it's happening digitally, it still affects you mentally and emotionally. Another reason we're becoming more rude is consumerism. Yeah, I know, kind of odd, but you know that saying, the customer is always right? Well, it was created after World War II, and it was basically this idea that the customer knows what they want. And so in order to give them impeccable service, you do as they say. But that kind of mentality and mantra has taken a whole new life of its own, especially during the pandemic, where it's given customers and individuals the license to hurt people, to hurt workers. And they use the customer is always right as a way to justify their bad behavior. Additionally, we've kind of dehumanized a lot of aspects of the service and retail experience. For example, it takes you only a second to order something online, and you can get it within an hour. But we now are kind of removed from the human cost of what that is, right? Like, who actually made that pen, for example? Like, how much time and energy did it take to pack that in a box, to drive it over here, to go through traffic, to bring it to you at that time? We kind of are removed from that entire experience. And so we are disconnected from the human cost of our convenience. Rudeness makes us feel powerful, especially in a time when we might be feeling scared, anxious, frustrated, which is kind of what happened during the pandemic. It's easier to be rude and mean than to be vulnerable. Psychologists say that rudeness, anger, those are secondary reactions and emotions. They actually are manifestations from people who are unable to process their fears and around uncertainties and their anxiety or depression. So they use anger and rudeness and disrespect in order to make them feel like they're in control of a situation. Whatever the reason is, rudeness is bad. Just because someone is scared or anxious or frustrated, it doesn't give them the license to be mean, hurtful, and rude to you. So if you encounter a rude person, what do? It really depends on the situation. Generally, most people, they're unaware that they're even being rude. Scientists found that only 4% of people are rude because they do it for fun. Everyone else kind of lacks self-awareness. When someone is being rude to me personally, I kind of like to assess the situation. For example, if this is like a road rage situation, I'm just gonna try to leave, because your safety and priority is the number one most important thing to keep in mind. You don't want to like interject yourself into a situation where someone is out of control or could be possibly violent. However, if you're in like a workplace situation and you have a colleague who is berating you, being rude to you, being cruel to you, then I like to take a firm but gentle approach where I say something like, "The way you're speaking to me is making me uncomfortable." I've found by saying that the way they're behaving is making me uncomfortable kind of resets the conversation. It kind of gives that person a moment to collect themselves, reflect on how they're reacting or behaving to me or at me, and then they have a moment to kind of self-correct. It takes them out of their rage cycle. I've had friends who work in retail who've kind of used this language that I suggested, and it's worked out pretty well for them. But you really have to use your best discretion and understanding when's the right time to engage with someone in like a productive conversation, because sometimes people want to fight, and you, again, need to make sure that you are always protecting yourself. And sometimes the best thing to do to not face rudeness is to avoid it. Either remove yourself from the situation, excuse yourself from the situation, and give yourself time to recover. Sometimes we can't avoid rudeness, whether that's because of the place we work at or the customers that we're dealing with. Some people want to fight. Some people have a negative mindset. So when you are in that situation and you have no choice but to interact with these individuals, take time afterwards to recover. Experts say some of the best ways to deal with rudeness is actually to focus on building a resilient mindset. To build a resilient mindset, it's best to have passions outside of your job, strong relationships, whether that's at the workplace and outside of your workplace, and just having a mindset that's generally positive and looking forward to the future. Because in that way, you're grounding yourself and you're making sure that whatever someone's throwing at you, you're not internalizing it and it's not a reflection of you. The good news is there are more ways than ever before to find the jobs and environment and people we want to surround ourselves with. It's super easy nowadays to go on different websites and look for opportunities that, for example, could take you out of the service industry and put you into an environment where you are able to thrive and really be your best self and surround yourself with people who love and appreciate you. Obviously, experts don't have all the answers. If you have a good way of navigating rudeness, how do you deal with rude people? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video and you want to see more content like this, like and subscribe. It really makes a huge difference. Thank you so much for watching.